Hello everyone and welcome to another video. My name is Keir Smith. Now for today's video I'm going to be talking about one of my favourite albums of all time. I don't say that lightly, this would definitely be in my top 10 favourite albums of all time. It is Roger Waters' 1992 album Amused to Death. For me, this album is an absolute masterpiece in every sense of the word. The themes that Roger covers, the songs, the music, the instrumentation, the sound effects, the production, the lyrical content, and the emotion behind it all. It's got everything that I love about Roger Waters. It's a powerful concept album that provokes deep thought and analysis. It's educational, it's certainly emotional, and it certainly made me sit up and take notice and turn my television off. For those who don't know, it's an album that explores mass media manipulation and the idea that war is being presented to us as if it was some kind of entertainment. And of course there are other themes that draw the sarcasm and cynicism from Roger Waters' writing, such as money, consumerism, power and greed. And the monkey, who is referred to and featured throughout the album, is a metaphor for the human race, who sit there in the comfort of their own homes, in front of their TV sets, watching all of this stuff being presented to them. A TV audience that is largely numb and who don't give it too much thought or show any real emotion for it. I posted a video a few months back now. I think it was my fourth of 5 videos that I've now posted about my favourite Pink Floyd album, The Final Cut. And that video I called My Favourites from the Final Cut, where I spoke about my favourite song from the album, my favourite lyric, my favourite guitar solo, that type of stuff. And when I posted that video, I thought to myself, I really need to get round to talking about Amused to Death. And so I thought that this would be a good place to start, where I talk about my favourites from Amused to Death. And the likelihood is that I'll post more videos about Amused to Death in the future, as I keenly explore all of the things that make this album so special to me. And so with all that said, here are my favourites from the masterpiece that is Amused to Death. Amused to Death was a big album, a big project, and it took a long time to record, and Roger Waters brought in many great musicians and singers to help out. P.P. Arnold lends her considerable vocal talents, and Michael Kamen, who worked with Roger closely on Pink Floyd's The Final Cut, is here again, providing some beautiful orchestration. Longtime friend and guitarist Andy Fairweather-Lowe features on many of the tracks. Steve Lukather from Toto features on a few tracks. Another guitarist, Jeff Whitehorn, formerly of Procol Harum, he's here, and the late great Jeff Beck is here. He lights up this album with some sensational guitar playing. And Don Henley of the Eagles is here. He sings duet with Roger on Watching TV. The aforementioned all contribute famously to this fantastic body of work, but I wanted to single out Patrick Leonard for special praise here. Patrick Leonard contributes so much to this album. He plays keyboards on most of the tracks, synthesizers on a couple of others. He arranges the choir on What God Wants Part 1, Watching TV, and It's a Miracle, which is absolutely stunning. He even provides the second sportscaster's voice that you hear on The Bravery of Being Out of Range, and he plays the piano so beautifully on Watching TV and even more so on It's a Miracle. And if that wasn't enough, he also co-produced this masterpiece with Roger. So yeah, take a bow, Patrick Leonard. You did an amazing job. There's a lot of sound effects used on Amused to Death, and they really enhance the feel and the mood of these songs and add a sense of drama to them. You hear everything crystal clear, from chirping crickets to birds tweeting, monkeys chattering, phones ringing, splashing of water, chopping of wood, babies crying, cars racing by, gunshots, fighter planes. But above all the great sound effects used on Amused to Death, the one that I still wait for and listen closely for is the one that you hear at the end of Late Home Tonight Part 1, when that bomb crashes down and you hear the shattering of glass. It's so loud and really jolts you from your resting position. Every time I hear it, I find it very shocking, and it feels very real and Of course it is. In a way, it's rather ironic because as the listener, as I say, I wait for that part and I quite enjoy it. Now, didn't Roger have the idea that we were being served war as entertainment? Yeah, something like that. And between each track on Amused to Death, you hear the sound of TV static as the monkey switches from channel to channel. And you hear the sound of TV, game show hosts, sportscasters, and all of these little interesting bits of dialogue. And yeah, I've even got a favourite for this particular category. Because at the start of What God Wants Part 3, you hear this rather mad TV evangelist. We must come together as one united TV audience, brought together by the sound of my voice. United financially, united socially, united spiritually, in all possible ways, through the power of money and the power of your prayers.
How fucking good is that?
And all of these voices, like on Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, add great character and a certain added depth to these songs. After working with Dave Gilmour for all of those years in Pink Floyd, Roger Waters certainly understands the need for a powerful and emotive guitar solo. And there are some sensational guitar solos on Amused to Death. What God Wants Part 1, Too Much Rope, It's a Miracle, 3 Wishes. But my favourite guitar solo on Amused to Death is the solo played by Jeff Beck on What God Wants Part 3. It comes right after Roger sings those lines and the monkey in the corner. He's slowly drifting out of range. And Jeff Beck unleashes this searing guitar solo. Superb. It starts slowly and builds, gradually becoming more intense. It progresses and there's a bit of fast and frenetic soloing, which is great. And that happens just before the solo reaches its climax with this piercing wail, which takes your breath away. It really takes the song to another level. It's very emotive. And yeah, to me, it's perfect. Favourite vocal? Now this was tough because I really like Roger Waters' voice and I appreciate he doesn't have a pretty singing voice and maybe lacks a bit of tone and quality to his singing. But what he clearly lacks in those areas, he more than makes up for with raw emotion, and I love that. I love his vocal on Late Home Tonight Part 2 and the quietude of It's a Miracle. That's really nice. And the raw, pained and unhinged vocal on Too Much Rope is so good. But I think my favourite vocal on the album will go to the title track, the closing track on the album. It's a confident, assured and strong vocal, I think. And it builds really well from the quiet opening through the outburst at the end of the song. The end of the song is particularly impressive, with the power of the music behind it and the quality of the lyric. That's a big moment and a big vocal.
Still busy mixing politics and rhythm in the street below.
My favourite lyric would also come from the title track, that aforementioned outburst at the end of the song, because I think it sums the album up so well and in a very satisfying way. To even have the idea to write something like this really impresses me, and the way he puts the words together so well and makes them relatively easy to digest. And when they found our shadows grouped around the TV sets, they ran down every lead, they repeated every test, they checked out all the data on their list, and then the alien anthropologists admitted they were still perplexed, but on eliminating every other reason for our sad demise, they logged the only explanation left. This species has amused itself to death. The imagery here is so strong. This idea that aliens will come down and find us and search through the data that they've gathered, trying to find some relevant truth as to how we came to this sad demise. But really, all they could find is that we came, we saw, we were here, and we took absolutely everything that we wanted and fed ourselves all of the things that I guess we thought we needed, and we left very few redeeming features. We are that shallow. It certainly doesn't make you feel good about yourself, but it does make you ask yourself some fundamental questions. Favourite song? There's 14 tracks on Amused to Death, so there's plenty to choose from. I really like The Bravery of Being Out of Range. I love Too Much Rope. What God Wants Part 3 is great. The title track is awesome, but my favourite song on the album has been for many years. It's a Miracle. It's slow and inviting. There's lots of space and atmosphere. The gentle roll of the piano is beautifully played. I really like the various sounds coming out of the synthesizers here. This is where Patrick Leonard is doing his best work. He's on piano, synthesizers, and production, of course. And of course, Roger's lyrics are often fantastic, and they certainly are here. He's pointing out that we have all of this supposedly great stuff that people think is miraculous, but it doesn't really serve us that well or do too much for us. Miraculous, you call it, babe? You ain't seen nothing yet. They've got Pepsi in the Andes. They've got McDonald's in Tibet. And I love the way that the drums kick in. They had a real sense of drama here, and Roger raises the intensity of his vocal. We've got warehouses of butter. We've got oceans of wine. We've got famine when we need it. We've got designer crime. We've got Mercedes. We've got Porsche. We've got Ferrari and Rolls Royce. Yeah, we've got choice. Roger even throws a joke in there when he sings the line, "The Lord said, Peter, I can see your house from here." And I really like the end of the song when Roger takes a pop at Andrew Lloyd Webber, who he'd had a previous disagreement with. "We cower in our shelters with our hands over our ears. Lloyd Webber's awful stuff runs for years and years and years. An earthquake hits the theatre, but the operetta lingers. Then the piano lid comes down and breaks its fucking fingers. It's a miracle." And at that point, which would be a more than suitable ending, you think that the song's finished, but then you hear this murmuring vocal that seems to be on a loop. And Jeff Porcaro, who's on drums, is playing these wonderful, descending, distant, echoey drum patterns, which are brilliant. And then, seemingly from out of nowhere, comes the high-pitched wail of Jeff Beck's short but oh so sweet guitar solo. He only picks a few notes, but what he picks and what he plays and the way he lets the notes ring out, it's absolutely sensational. Oh, It's a Miracle is a miracle of a song. It's so good. 10 out of 10.
Couldn't stand it anymore, and I had to leave.
Whether it's with Pink Floyd or Roger Waters as a solo artist, on every album that he's put his name to, it always feels like there's a really big emotional moment on the album, if not 2 or 3. And the emotional high point that I've picked out on Amused to Death is that aforementioned Jeff Beck guitar solo, the short and sweet one at the end of It's a Miracle. Like I said, it seemingly comes from out of nowhere, this high-pitched, piercing wail that's quite loud. And as he lets the notes ring out, you hear this heavenly choir vocalising, harmonising together in a glorious way. It's like a double crescendo. It's hard to describe when you love something so much, but it's the most breathtaking moment. I feel overcome with emotion. It just pours out of me, and I feel very vulnerable in that moment, but in the very best way. It's a real goosebumps moment. It's a very pure thrill. I was listening to this song at work the other day, and I took a minute to read some of the comments that were left there. And one guy said, "It sounds like the gates of heaven have opened and you're being greeted by loved ones." And I thought that was great. And I thought, yeah, something as pure and divine as that. And there's a big piano chord that comes down right at the end of the song, and that finalises the song, so to speak. That then lingers and fades out gradually with the sound of Jeff Beck's guitar and that beautiful choir. And then I feel very calm and somewhat cleansed. I'm doing my best to describe it, but words really don't do this justice. I've thought of another list I can do. Top 10 emotional moments on an album. Well, this one would be in the top 3. Probably top 2. There's one moment that I might like more than this. I said might. But yeah, I love this moment on Amused to Death. It's the best. And if you love this moment as much as I do, then please do take a moment and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to read your thoughts. So there you go. There's some of my favourites from Roger Waters' masterpiece, Amused to Death. I certainly feel like I've spoken for quite a while here, so if you've made it this far in the video, then thanks for sticking with me. I assume that you like it as much as I do, so yeah, isn't this album great? If you've got any thoughts that you'd like to share on this album, then please do leave them down below. Because good or bad, this album really should be talked about a lot more. As always, I'd like to thank you all for stopping by and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed making it. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this album. And of course, I'll be posting my next video sometime in the near future. Until then, bye for now.